Something is about to happen. Do you feel it? As if they were on the threshold of a great transformation, at that moment when everything seems uncertain, but at the same time loaded with possibilities. This video has come to you now, and this is no coincidence. Maybe that's exactly what you needed to hear right now. But why, just before a big change, does everything seem more difficult? And why do we often feel that we are stagnant even after so much effort? The answer to these questions may be closer than you think. There are times in life when we feel increasing pressure, a kind of internal tension that seems to announce something bigger, as if we were on the verge of a decisive turn, not knowing exactly when or how it will happen. Now, before continuing, it tells me one thing. Have you come across some moments of ups and downs while looking for your advance? How do you deal with the challenges and moments of tiredness? I would love to know your opinion. If you are enjoying this content, be sure to leave your like below, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. This way you will continue to receive more tips on how to turn these life cycles into real advances. If you feel that you have been doing your best, overcome challenges, and still see yourself stopped at the same point, know that it does not mean failure. On the contrary, often when we are about to reach something grand, the path becomes more turbulent. It is as if the universe is testing your resistance, making sure you are really ready to receive what you want so much. This uncertainty can cause many to give up even before crossing the finish line. It is common at this point to feel tired, doubt, and even the temptation to give up what has been dreamed for so long. But what if I told you that this phase of apparent chaos is actually a sign that you are about to break the barriers that have kept you in prison so far? Imagine a dam about to break. The accumulated water exerts immense pressure against the walls that hold it. The greater the force contained there, the more intense the release is when the barrier finally breaks. The same happens on your journey. This tension you feel does not mean that you are failing, but that you are one step from a new beginning. And this is where the choice comes in. Do you attach yourself to the fear of the unknown or embrace the opportunity for transformation? Change requires you to abandon old patterns, limiting beliefs, and everything that no longer serves. But in doing so, you make room for something much bigger. After all, every great transformation begins the moment we decided to move on, even without all the answers. And maybe that's your time. It is as if the old structure of your life is disintegrating to make room for the new. A painful but essential process that opens the doors for a deep transformation. The great advance you are about to experience goes far beyond a simple external change. This is not a new job, reaching a goal, or improving something in the relationship. We are talking about an internal metamorphosis, something that begins in the heart, in its deepest beliefs. All the challenges and difficulties you went through so far have not been in vain. It was the preparation for what is about to happen. You may not have realized, but throughout this walk, you have strengthened your mind, perfected your skills, and overcame numerous obstacles. We are so immersed in the difficulties of the present that we cannot always realize how much we have already evolved. It is easy to focus on falls, errors, and forget to observe the journey. Do an exercise now. Look back and reflect on everything you have ever surpassed. Every difficulty, every error, every moment of insecurity was critical for you to get here. This walk has prepared you in ways you can't fully understand. You may not see this clearly at this time, but I can guarantee the whole process so far has been necessary. The great advance that is about to happen is not a chance. This is not luck or destination, but something you built, often without realizing it. This advance is the harvest of what you planted. Now you have to trust. Fear and doubt may arise, but do not allow them to dominate their way. That moment of tension, you are feeling exactly the threshold between the old and the new. It is so close to crossing the line that even with fear, you know that it has reached the point of not return. This moment when you feel that everything is crumbling is actually a preparation. It may seem that you are losing, but in reality, you are getting rid of what no longer serves. If you keep faith in this process, you will realize that everything you have done so far, even the most difficult times, has been a preparation for what is to come. What you always wanted, what you've been fighting to achieve, is much closer than you think. However, before reaching it, the universe wants to know if you are really prepared to receive it. This is the point where you are challenged to put control aside, to trust life, the process, and you are ready. Fear at this point need not be an obstacle. It is a reflection of coming out of the comfort zone, and it is exactly in this unknown territory that true growth occurs. What you know is no longer enough. Growth happens at the edges of what is familiar, and it is exactly in this space that you are now. You are living the exact moment when old structures begin to give in to make room for the new. At this moment, it is essential that you breathe deeply and understand that all this has not happened by chance. You are here for a reason, ready to advance to a new chapter of your life. It is no coincidence that you are watching this video now. The universe, in your wisdom, brought you to this point because you know that you are ready for what is to come. What is necessary now is to stay firm, trust the process, and take the next step, even if this step takes you to unknown territory. As you approach this great transformation, it is natural that fears and doubts intensify just when you are about to cross the threshold to a new step, which once seemed controlled, now seems to crumble, and the old fears appear with renewed force. This is a common feeling before it reaches something significant. Feeling overloaded at this moment is perfectly normal, but most importantly, you remember an essential point. Fear is a sign of growth. When you are preparing to advance to the unknown, it is inevitable that fear appears. This is because we are moving away from the family member, and our brain is programmed to seek what is known, which offers a sense of security, even though what awaits us ahead is more challenging. Fear then becomes the reflection of a movement toward the new, the unknown, to what is outside the comfort zone. What you need to understand is that fear is not an indicator that you are going in the wrong direction. It comes when we are about to evolve, when we are on the threshold of a big change, and that means you are exactly where you need to be. Fear is not an obstacle, but a sign that you are on the right track, walking toward what can transform your life deeply. Instead of trying to avoid fear or ignore it, learn to accept it. Fear is a natural part of the growth process. He is there to remind you that you are about to get out of your safe place, the family member, to something new. By learning to feel fear and moving on anyway, you will be strengthening your journey towards what you want to achieve. The big mistake is trying to eliminate fear before acting, thinking that if we are afraid, we are not ready to take the next step. The truth is that fear will always be present in some way. No matter how much you prepare or how much has evolved, fear will be a constant companion when you are about to make a big leap. The key is not in eliminating fear, but in learning to advance despite it, because it is precisely after fear that growth occurs. It is in this space that its great transformation will happen. Fear is the door you need to go through to get to what you really want. When fear arises on your journey, it is important to know how to consciously face it. Instead of trying to avoid it or allow it to paralyze your actions, the first thing you should do is to recognize it. Ask yourself, what exactly am I fearing? Often, by dismembering fear, you will realize that it is not as threatening as it seemed at first glance. Fear can come in disguise of many ways. Fear of failing, being rejected, or even the unknown. But when you examine these emotions, you notice that they are just creations of your mind, not something real. Therefore, the first key to dealing with fear is undoubtedly conscience, understanding that it is just a thought and not something that should determine its actions. The second key is the action. Facing fear is often acting despite it. Do not expect to be completely safe before taking the next step. The search for total security is an illusion that only serves to keep you stagnant. The truth is that there will always be a degree of uncertainty on the way, and when you accept it, it will become easier to move on. Taking action generates impulse, and this impulse has the power to dissipate fear, making it smaller with each step. Also, it is worth remembering that you are not alone in this process. Although their personal growth is unique, many people around the world are facing the same types of challenges and overcoming their own fears. The fear you feel is not isolated, it is a natural part of human experience. Knowing that others are also browsing this sea of uncertainty can give you the necessary impulse to move on with confidence. Uncertainty is also a constant presence before any breakthrough. You may feel that you are about to take an important step, but not be clear about what the way will be or what results it will bring. Lack of clarity can be overwhelming and lead you to want to ensure that everything will be right before you act. However, life does not work this way. Uncertainty is an inseparable companion of growth. Instead of trying to control everything or expect everything to be perfectly aligned, you need to trust the process. Even if you don't see all the details of the path ahead, know that the universe is orchestrating everything to get you where you need to be. Sometimes the big breakthrough is not enough as we imagine, and opportunities come up in unexpected ways, challenging our limited view of what we think is the best. Be open to possibilities. The universe has a way to put you in the right place at the right time. If you cling to a fixed idea of how things should happen, you may end up not realizing the opportunities that are already right before you, waiting to be taken advantage of. An intelligent approach to dealing with uncertainty is to redirect your attention to what is within your reach. Although the future may seem hazy, you still have control over your posture, your attitudes, and the decisions you make every day. Instead of worrying about what you can't predict, focus on what you can do now, because progress does not depend on tomorrow's clear view, but on the attitude in the present. When you focus your energy on what you can really control, it begins to feel a sense of empowerment, even if external circumstances are not clear. Meanwhile, there is another important point. Learning to recognize subtle signals that indicate that you are about to live a breakthrough. The universe, with its invisible intelligence, always sends clues that you are following in the right direction. These signs can present in unusual ways. A casual encounter with someone who has exactly what you need, an opportunity that arises unexpectedly, or an inner feeling that something is about to change. When you are really aligned with your deepest desires, you begin to perceive these synchronicities more clearly. Imagine, for example, that you have begun to consider a new desktop and, without waiting, find someone who is already established in this field. Or perhaps it faces personal difficulty and suddenly a common conversation brings a solution you had not thought. These moments are not just coincidences. They are forms of guidance that the universe makes at your disposal. For these messages to come to you, it is essential to be aware and present in the now. Only then will it be possible to perceive the signs that are often camouflaged in everyday situations. Moreover, another crucial aspect is the practice of gratitude. Not only does it maintain its positive energy, but it also helps to recognize the advances already achieved, rather than focusing only on what still needs to be achieved. Usually, our attention is focused on what is missing, but it is vital to take a break and recognize how much you have already grown. Whatever the size of victory, it is valid, and realizing it will help enjoy the process even before you reach the big step you expect. Finally, the secret to achieving what you want is in persistence. We often believe that great changes happen suddenly, such as an extraordinary event or an epiphany. However, the reality is that most achievements come from the sum of constant small steps, which over time generate a stronger and stronger movement. This continuous movement is what will give you the strength to overcome obstacles, such as doubts and tiredness. he will carry you in moments of discouragement. However, many people make the mistake of expecting motivation to emerge naturally as an external impulse. The true motivation, however, comes from the action itself. Even if the step is small, when you move, it starts to create an internal energy that boosts you later and forward. Imagine you are pushing a slope ball below. At first, it may seem difficult, a considerable effort to make the ball start to roll. But as it gains speed, the energy of gravity takes over and it begins to move alone, gaining strength over time. So what is the secret to maintaining this movement toward your great advance? The answer is in the discipline. Many people have a negative view of discipline, associating it with sacrifice, stiffness, and lack of freedom. However, what you may not realize is that true discipline is the key to gaining your freedom. When you set a daily routine of consistent actions, no matter if you feel motivated or not, you create a solid path that guarantees progress regardless of circumstances. Motivation may be unpredictable, but discipline does not depend on it. The secret is in cultivating small but powerful habits that bring you closer to your goal. It doesn't have to be something grand. It can just be a time of day dedicated to reflecting, writing about your plans, or even maintaining a positive attitude. The important thing is continuity. Over time, these little steps add up, creating a power stream that pushes you in the right direction. And when the great advance comes, you will be completely prepared to enjoy it. Another essential factor to maintain this pace is the environment around you. If you live in a space full of distractions and negative energy, it will be much more difficult to support the strength you need to move on. However, when your physical environment reflects your intentions and motivates you, everything becomes more fluid. The same goes for the people you surround yourself. Being with people who share their values and believe in their potential makes all the difference. They are the energy that drives, which keeps you firm when obstacles arise and discouragement tries to paralyze you. Also, pay attention to what you say to yourself. Internal dialogue is a powerful tool, and it can elevate both you and to knock you down. If you constantly criticize yourself and doubt yourself, you will be making your own progress difficult. However, if you choose to support yourself with encouraging words and confidence in your path, you will see how your energy changes impressively. You don't have to wait for everything to be perfect to start acting. The key is to start, even if the steps are small, and trust that the discipline will lead you to your great advance. Often, greater progress happens just when things do not come out as expected. Advancing does not depend on ideal conditions, but its ability to move on, even when the scenario is not perfect. Life rarely offers you the right time to take that bold step that can transform everything. The challenges will always be present, as well as the doubts that arise on the way. However, what really defines those who get big changes and those who remain stagnant is the willingness to move on, even when the future looks uncertain and difficulties seem insurmountable. This is where flexibility comes in. When you are about to reach a breakthrough, obstacles can come unexpectedly. At this time, it may seem that you have lost all the accumulated effort, that the impulse you built dissipated. But flexibility allows you to adjust to new circumstances without losing the course. Being flexible does not mean giving up your goal. On the contrary, it is about being willing to adjust the way, to look for new ways of achieving what you want. Sometimes, a deviation that looks like an error can actually be an opportunity to find something better, a new route that will bring you more learning and growth. Each obstacle has something to teach you. You may need to learn to be more patient or to persevere with more determination. You may be challenged to look at yourself and realize what you still need to change before you achieve what you are looking for. When you face these moments with open mind, instead of resisting, you strengthen yourself and get more prepared for what comes ahead. An excellent way to maintain flexibility is to book a time every day to reflect, to meditate. By devoting a few minutes of your day to silence, you create room to hear your intuition, to realize the signs that you may need to adjust something in your trajectory. Meditation helps dissipate the external noise, bringing clarity to your decisions, allowing you to keep focus and impulse. In addition, throughout your journey, it is essential to recognize the small victories. When we are focused on a distant goal, we often fail to value everyday achievements. Each step, however small, is an important advance. Celebrating these moments of progress strengthens your motivation and reaffirms that it is worth continuing. Recognizing your victories, however small, is a powerful way to reinforce your commitment to your goals. Do not wait until the end of the journey to feel satisfaction. The simple act of continuing, moving on despite the difficulties, is already a great reason for celebration. While preparing to win its great advance, it is essential to understand that life is marked by cycles. There will be periods when you will feel energized, full of motivation, and others where tiredness and discouragement will take care of you. These ups and downs are a natural part of the process and should not be viewed as signs of failure or that their progress is stagnant. They are simply moments that are part of growth. Instead of resisting these cycles, learn to use them to your advantage. When you are in a moment of great energy, take the opportunity to advance faster. Already in times of less disposition, allow yourself to slow down and recharge, knowing that the impulse will return at the right time. And then, when your great advance is made, you will realize that all the effort, dedication, and perseverance are worth it. Perhaps you have achieved a long-time dream, achieving a significant goal, or overcome a barrier that seemed insurmountable. This moment of victory, however, marks only the beginning of a new phase, which involves maintaining, deepening, and expanding this achievement. Many people, when they reach an important milestone, fall into the trap of thinking that the journey has come to an end. They think that after a great achievement, the path will become easier, and that it will not be necessary to continue striving. However, the reality is that success is never a definitive point of arrival. It is part of a continuous process, always in transformation. Success is not something you reach and simply rest on it. It is an opportunity to start new evolution cycles. The great advancement is just a new step on the staircase of your personal development. And as you will follow after this achievement is what will define the next chapters of your history. The first step in maintaining a healthy mindset after a great achievement is to understand that there is always room to grow. Achieving a goal does not mean that the game is over. It means that you now have the tools, lessons, and experience needed to continue advancing. By adopting this mindset, you realize that each victory is just the beginning of something even bigger. This continuous view of growth helps prevent one of the greatest dangers after great achievements: complacency. Compliance arises when you settle for the results obtained, believing you did enough. You stop seeking improvements and evolution, convinced that it has already reached the top. But the truth is that when you accommodate yourself, you risk losing what you have achieved. Although complacency brings a false sense of tranquility, it can, in the long run, paralyze its progress. Life goes on, and if you do not continue to develop, you risk losing the energy that led you to this point. Therefore, it is essential to maintain a constant expansion mindset, always open to learning and seeking new forms of growth. After reaching a breakthrough, the next step is to continue feeding the curiosity that initially boosted you. Many times, when we reach a big feat, we can be tempted to stop and think that we have done enough. However, the key to avoiding complacency is precisely to never fail to explore, question, and seek new forms of growth. There is always something new to be discovered, whether about the world around you or about yourself. The search for knowledge and evolution must be continuous, even after reaching the most desired milestones. If you stop asking yourself how you can get better, challenging the next step, stagnation begins to approach. Curiosity keeps the flame lit and allows you to advance even more, regardless of where you are. Another important point, especially after a big feat, is the need to take care of yourself. Often during the trajectory towards success, we forget the balance, rest, and attention to our well-being. We focus so much on the goal that we neglect the self-care. Perhaps you have set aside leisure time or even physical and mental health for the effort to achieve what you wanted. Now that you have come here, it is essential to remember that success will have no value if you cannot fully enjoy it. Take time to compose yourself, to recognize yourself, and to celebrate the victories that are certainly the fruits of your effort. Self-care is a fundamental practice, not a luxury, so you can continue to advance in a healthy and sustainable way. In addition, it is important to reflect on everything this journey has taught you. The path to its great advance was full of lessons that often go unnoticed in the heat of action. Now that you have achieved what you wanted, look back and watch how these experiences shaped your journey. What have you learned about your own limits, your strengths and weaknesses? In reflecting, you solidify the lessons acquired and prepare for the next challenges with more wisdom and clarity. Do not allow your hurry to move on to lose you of lessons that may be essential to your future. Life is constantly moving, always offering new opportunities for learning. If you are able to integrate these lessons into your being, you will be more than ready for the next challenges that arise on your way. After reaching a big milestone, there is something fundamental that cannot be forgotten: the importance of being surrounded by the right people. The impact others have on our mindset and energy is immeasurable, and the company you choose directly reflects on your growth. When you reach a great feat, it is natural to feel surrounded by compliments and recognition, but if the only voices around you are those that validate your achievements without questioning your potential to go further, you will be losing a chance to continue your evolution. Look for people who not only applaud your victories, but who also challenge you to look at the future with new eyes that boost you to exceed the boundaries you have already exceeded. They will be those that, over time, will more help you stay focused and with a renewed view of your abilities. Along with this, there is an essential ingredient to continue advancing: gratitude. Don't let it be just an emotion that comes at the moment of a great achievement. Gratitude must be cultivated every day, as it is the one who keeps you balanced, helps you look at what has already been conquered with appreciation, and opens doors for new opportunities. When gratitude becomes a constant practice, it puts you in a state of abundance, where the mere fact that it exists and grows becomes a source of celebration. And this constant recognition stance will ensure that you remain open to more possibilities, regardless of how many successes have already reached. Never underestimate the power of gratitude. It has the ability to keep your mind sharp and your heart light, allowing you to see challenges like steps to growth, not as insurmountable barriers. By keeping this practice alive, you will be able to realize that although you have overcome a major obstacle, there will always be something else to be conquered. However, make no mistake in thinking that your advances only impact your life. They have an expansive effect. When you grow up and achieve your goals, it reverberates in those who observe you. The people around them begin to perceive their strength, their ability to reinvent themselves, and to continue advancing, even when difficulties arise. And even if you don't realize it, it may be that someone deeply gets inspired by your journey, seeing you an example of resilience and transformation. By following developing, you're not only raising your own life, but also positively influencing the environment around you. Their advance becomes a spark for others to look for the best of themselves, creating a multiplier effect of evolution and change. And this is how, by continuing to challenge and working on your personal growth, you not only transform yourself, but it also becomes a lighthouse for everyone who crosses your way. Now, I want to know about you. Have you ever gone to some time when after a big breakthrough, have you been lost, not knowing how to follow? Or perhaps faced difficulties in maintaining focus after reaching an important goal? How was this experience for you? Share in the comments, as your story can help other people who are going through this now. If you like this content and if it made sense to you, be sure to leave your like and subscribe to the channel to keep following this kind of reflection. Oh, and take the opportunity to share with those who may also be facing these challenges and need a little push. And tell me, which city are you watching from? Let's connect, because together we can continue our growth journey. Until the next video.